crazy yet, although it looks much more textured than it is, but as you'll find out, a website looks good based on the images it uses more than anything. So first thing you want to do, and all these files will be provided, is go to File, New, make something on web, and do 1440 wide and 5000 high. We can make it longer if we need to later. First, I want to do is duplicate this artboard and just call it original, and drag in this design here so I can actually, you know, more or less, I have that there, and basically we don't have to look at that ever again. And here's the thing. So first thing we want to do is use guides. It's not that important right now, but I'm gonna just whip out any set of guides. I don't know how much they'll follow this design, annoyingly actually, but they'll be fairly useful for what we need them for, basically. So what we're going to do is load up something. So this will be, I'll provide this asset. So, but in tutorial 2, I've got something called grid web. I don't actually know how, how good this is, but let's go duplicate, untitled, and try center this on the canvas. There you go. Out of interest, this is more for me, just I want to see how actually much is this following it. Probably very little, unfortunately. This isn't the best we could do, but we're going to make use because we kind of want to get started. So what we're going to do is I'll show you how to do guides first, and then how we can actually more or less create this design. I'm going to base it on these guides, so it's going to be actually a bit more interesting. So we've got these guides, let's lock them, and then zoom in. But this, you want to zoom in as much as you can. Get your rulers ready, which is Control R, or Command R if you're on a Mac. And then for every dark blue here, we want to get a line. Now this doesn't have to be pristinely precise. If you're doing a ridiculously important design that the developers were really focusing in on what you're doing, then yeah, you'd want to do it perfectly. But right now it's more just for us to learn the basics. So once again, there'll be bits where we'll be slightly off, but it's no big deal. Just kind of keep on moving around the canvas. I'm moving around using space, so I press space, hold the hand, move on, and keep going. So it's a really quick process. It shouldn't take you more than a minute or two, really, no matter how precise you want to be. And like I said, what we're going to try to do is basically recreate the design. There might not be pixel for pixel, just because this set of guides are so different. There are probably less of them, and with bigger gutters, I imagine. That's the last one I did, but we'll see. The first thing we're going to do is actually make a header. So anyway, these are our guides. So what we can do is hide this layer and do view, show, show lock guides. So you can have them open. Now, first thing we really need to do is and this layer, as you can see, is first thing we'd want to do is basically do the whole image transition thing going on. So it goes from dark to image to light. So it's, how high is it? It's about 1500, it's bloody massive, but it's all good. So what we're going to do is first just get the image. Now you can do this in many ways, but I'm just going to do File, Place, Embed, and in one of the files you will have this exact image, which we have right here. And we're going to kind of stretch it so it's kind of where we need it. It's about long enough, really. There you go. And call it VG, like header, so I can actually show you how to name stuff correctly. Header BG, and lock it for now. To turn guides on and off, control semicolon, and control semicolon turns them on and off. So next thing we're going to do is do a lot of feathering. So let's get a shape, draw it above. Let's color pick, so double click on your thing here, color pick that purple, drag it, and then literally just kind of more or less resize it kind of to this. Doesn't have to be perfect at all. Okay, and now what we're going to want to do is go double click on it again on that layer, gradient, and then color pick this, and actually choose this as a preset. It'll be a bit easier. Color pick that, and then what's going on here? Hold on. Gradient, color. Oh, actually, let's just use this and just color pick it on both ends. Doesn't really matter. And then what we're going to do is convert this to rasterize it. Get our marquee tool, select modify feather. Let's use 150 as a guide, maybe not because it's a bit too much. Let's do select modify feather about 100. Drag it across, and to whereabouts it is. Let's delete that. See, that's a bit too much, so let's lift it up, maybe here. Looks about right, but a bit higher. Yeah, I'd say that's kind of where we want it. So all I'm doing is pressing delete that you picked up from the last lesson to do that. And now what I'm going to do is, as you can see, it's this layer. So what I'm going to do is bottom gradient. I'm going to duplicate it, call it top gradient. So yeah, it's actually a bit nicer. Yeah, I'd say that's a bit nicer. So, well, no, we're not going to do that. As we learn, bottom gradient again. See, just double up. And let's name that like that. And then duplicate that again. Top gradient. And what we're going to do is do Control T, rotate it, and squish it to about that much, and drop the opacity to something like 66. And that's basically this whole outline here, kind of matching that. You know, we can play around with it because we could make the bottom gradient squish it a bit so it's a bit closer to what we have. Maybe drop the opacity on it a bit, like that. But essentially that's what we need. So what we're going to do is select all three using Shift, click on one, Shift all, Control G, and call them gradients, gradient overlays, and lock those. So now let's go back to our grid, Control, bam, and let's get the logo and let's do all of this. So what we're going to do is get the logo. So again, File, Place Embed, bam. Right, I don't know how big that is exactly, but let's resize it to about 60. So it looks quite a bit bigger. Let's maybe 50. And what we're going to do is do this kind of by eye. So Control T it, move it right in the corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And just do that for now as a guide. And then what we're going to do is get this font. So I'm pretty sure it's using Helvetica, but we don't have Helvetica, so let's use something along the lines of Open Sans. Seems the easiest way. So just click, don't drag. Let's get Open Sans, bold, and I think it's about 16 that we had. And then whatever color it comes out, just make sure it's white, basically. See, that looks about right. Maybe it's 14 actually, it's really small, but let's just keep it at 16. What we want to do now is literally drag it. So hold Shift, drag, hold Shift Alt, and then drag. And then what's the next one? News. So news, and then keep on repeating it. Shift drag, Alt, and then it's arcane, arcane, and then it's media. Again, drag, Remember, you could do this by duplicating the layer in the layers panel, but it's just simpler here. And then community. Community. Okay, that's all of them. And what we can do now, we don't have to do amazing spacing right now, so what we can do is hold shift, select all of them, and spread them out evenly. Bam. And what we're going to do now, it's already even because it never really works that simply, is what we're going to have to do is do the dots in between. So I'd say we need about a 5 pixel dot, which turned out to be a square. Brilliant. Select this ellipse tool in the left. Let's do actually a 6 pixel dot. That's all white. And all we're going to do is grab this dot, move it over the top, place it, and then drag with Alt and Shift each time, so we just have all the dots we need. Bam, beautiful. And now what we're going to do is by eye, well, not by eye, second you get this line there, 1, 2, and then drag this guy, 1, 2, and we're going to keep on repeating it, so there's a 20 pixel gap between each one. 1, 2, 1, 2. And as I'm going left to the right, I'm holding shift and doing my arrow key. So every time you go, for example, every time you do one right space or left space or down, it's 1 pixel, but if you hold shift, it's 10 at a time. So again, 1, 2, and then 1, 2. So all of these gaps are the same. Let's select everything, Control G, navigation. Now what we do still need to do is the rest of it basically is, as you can see here, that's all opaque, that's the only one that's actually visible. So let's select all the circles and everything but home and drop it to 50%. Done. The last thing we kind of have to do is if we set navigation, and let's just call this logo. Let's select both, center, beautiful. So the last thing we're missing is the button. Now I can't exactly tell how big the button is, but what we can do is do this. Random rectangle tool. First thing you want to check is how big is the radius already, apparently. I've got 90, which should be more than enough. So what we want to do is make sure it's a rounded rectangle. So what I'm going to do is 50 high and let's say 150 long. And why? Straight away, just drop the opacity to 25. And then what we can do again, just for the ease of everything, click on Home, Alt, Shift, drag it across, and just drag out that folder above the layer. So we've got it here. Now what we can do again is just center this within there. We'll tidy up later. And call this, what was it, Play Now. And then with that done, centered again, let's select both, Control G, group it, call it button navigation, and then let's drop it, center it on both. So let's select all three, center, and then let's drag these two, Control T, all the way to the edge of the canvas. See, sometimes it misaligns, so all the way, see when you get that line, that pink line? 1, 2, 3, 4, holding shift once again. So it's all equally spaced. Select the logo, order, group it, call it main, nav, and we have the top done. Now, the next step I'd say would be this bit of type. So the first thing we really want to do is our guides up. So we're going to actually use the guides from now on compared to however this is set up, and hopefully it'll all fit fine. So first thing let's do is drag in the Battle Right logo. So File, Place Embed. Okay, so I see the logo here doesn't work. So what we're going to do is go to the internet, Battle Right logo PNG, because sometimes we've got to do our own research. Images, that would do, save, oh that did not work, save image as, and let's put it in my tutorial folder, Battle Right logo, save. And what I'm going to do now is File, Place Embed. That's the right logo. Just drop it in there for now. I'm not bothered about the sizing. I've just got it there, and let's call it. Okay, cool. Now, let's do is now free. So, click is now free. And what we're going to want to do is get the right font. So this font is called Algrea SC. And from what I remember, it was 48 high. Question, and make it white. And the only difference is, hold on, is now free. Let's see, have we got a, see, make sure you haven't got that happening, is now free. So basically, if you select in your character panel this particular thing, it makes it basically capitals. So we want that off and left aligned, and we're done. So what we're going to do now is get on board with new characters, new arenas, new skills, and all for free done as well. So let's just for ease of use, drag it down, and then change this to 20. Change this to Open Sans. Change it to Open Sans regular, and let's write that up. So get on board with new characters, new arenas, new skills, all for free. There's an exclamation point right there. So, first what I'm going to do is grab this, align it to this corner as well as we can. Now, what we're going to do is get this logo, and based on that size, kind of try to size it up similarly. So I'd say about 70 is what we want. And again, drag it along. And now center this on that. Let's get rid of these guys so we can actually see what we're doing. Kind of looks the same, right? And now let's get this, Control T, just so I can move it around comfortably. Let's say about 20 pixels there, and we've got that. Now straight away I'm seeing a bit of an issue with my overlays. It's not really dark enough here. So what we're going to do is unlock these overlays, grab this one, and just really move it up a bit to the point where I can actually see a bit more of this. That's much nicer. I can actually see it a bit more, but I can drop the opacity a bit, so it's not as bad. But let's drop it to 50, and then just lock these gradients again. So that's all good, and now all we need to do is do the Play Now button here. So there's actually a button over there, really. So we can duplicate it. So what we do is select it, select both, Alt Shift, drag it down, drag it out of there, and now we just reverse it. So what we're going to do is make this 100%, and then select the text, and I think the color was 2D, 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 and that's it. Let's drag it, Control T, and now what we can do is call this button again, and actually if we wanted to just select the text in that, left align it so it's all aligned, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The only other thing is left is all sign up. So what we can do is grab this bit of text to write all sign up, highlight it, go to your characters panel, underline 50%, hold on, there you go, and then simply align it on the button, and then if you really want to be precise, bring it to the button, 1, 2, done. And that's all of this. So we can get all of this now, and let's call this header text, basically, because that's all that is. And if we want, for the sake of our heads, to get as close as we can, let's do this. And just to sanity check, it's more or less in the same position. Done. Cool. So the next bit to do would be, let's do the video player. So the video player, it should be really simple. First thing we want to do is get a square rectangle, double click. Let's do 160 by 90 because that's basically the resolution of most videos, and then drag it across. So mine is about let's say 260 wide, but let's just zoom in so it actually matches. Control T again, 265 high, and was it 265 high and about 271. So let's just drag it kind of in its position. Alright, next thing we want to do is get an image. So what we're going to do is, once again, File, Place Embed, Client Files, and let's get an arena image, which is going to be map 4. Downsize it a bit, so it's kind of bigger than the image, but no. So what we're going to do is we want to click on the map, click Alt, and then see that? Beautiful. It's that simple. Next, double click on the rectangle, drop shadow. Again, very easy. What we're going to do is do a distance of 5, a size of 9, you get rid of global light, do 90, and drop this to about 25%. Done. It's that simple, and we're already close to that design, right? Next thing we're going to do is once again get a square going. Make sure you're on the map, because if you do it on the square again, it will just duplicate the square. Overlay it. Make the color. Let's use that purple we've got down there at the bottom. Make sure it's again part of it, and then rasterize it. Let's do another little bit of a feather. Select modify feather, but this time it needs to be a lot smaller, like 25 at most. Feather, and then drop the opacity to about 25, 30, 33 for now. Really is just to get a bit of guesswork right now. As you can tell, it doesn't look identical to what we have, but it doesn't have to. Actually, let's do 50 just to be safe. There you go. Much closer to that. Now, the next thing we need is this little gold gizmo. So what we're going to do is, I actually don't think I've got that in my folder right now, and I will put it in that folder for you guys tomorrow. But let's have a look. Do I have it as part of the elements? I don't. So if I go to my place where I paste a lot of stuff between accounts, let me just find it. There you go. Let me just download that. And what we'll want to do is, once I've clicked on this one, you guys will do it as always. You've just been placing it. I'm just going to drag it in. So this is what you'll come up with. What we want to do is do basically, again, and then Control T. Essentially just move it around. And then duplicate it again. And then duplicate it again. Control T, rotate it. Drag it around. Don't know if we want it. How does it look better? Above, below. Doesn't really make much of a difference, but do that, and then Control duplicate layer again. For some reason these guys came out. There you go, more or less. There we go. And then just check what's this one. Move that one up a bit. Move that one down a bit. Kind of looks alright. And what we can do is basically select all of these layers, Control G, header, video. Now we've got that. The only thing that's really left is this particular element. So first thing we want to do is, again, within the header video, let's click on top, select polygon tool and make sure it's 6 sides. The thing is, usually these polygons come out really weird, especially in Photoshop, so what we're going to do is double click and just click OK. Now Control T, rotate it, and squish it a bit, just so it looks a bit nicer. Now get rid of that and just do white and about 5, let's say. Maybe 4 full stroke. And then let's just try center it on that rectangle. Okay, what we're going to do is actually grab the colors from that image. So what you're going to do is double click on the color, drag with space, click here, OK, click back, which did nothing because I'm being a genius. Let's do that from here, do that, click, OK. So now we've got the color in the left palette. So selecting the polygon, let's just select that color straight away. It helped a bit. What we're going to do is do a bit of effects. Double click on the polygon, let's do a drop shadow, but rather than it being black, do that. And then let's do an outer glow. Again, do that. But the outer glow, let's do opacity of 25 and a distance of like 3. And we're literally going to do a very similar thing now. So double click, then click 3 sides. Control T, just downsize it a bit, squish it a bit so it looks more like a play button, and let's center these two on each other. Somehow it always looks off center for me, and then do right click on polygon 1, copy layer style, paste layer style, and what we're going to do is just copy that color, bam, and let's call this play button. And right here we have basically everything up to this bit done, more or less, as it is, really simply. So what we want to do right now is actually do Control S and save this in your tutorial folder. Let's call this game design website. Let's call it desktop, actually, desktop 1. Okay, that's the base done. Now what we're going to try to do is do this bit, element, this whole new section. But before we're going to do that, actually, let's just select all of this. So unlock this, unlock that, select all of this, Control G, header. So it's all kind of there. And in case you want to mess around with anything in here, just lock the 2 main bits that will move around, header and gradients, and the rest of it we can just hide. So the next bit we want to do is do this. So let's get our actual guides up, and let's just place this for eye's sake where it is, and get a rectangle tool and do something like, let's see, by eye 10 high by about 272 wide for now. Clearly you see that's a bit off the guide, but it really does not matter. And what we want to do is literally duplicate that play button style on here. So first, rectangle, copy the color, then copy style, and then paste that style right there. Done. It's that simple. And then let's do all of these should be, from what I remember, about 20. Once again, so let's click. Let's change this to our new favorite font, Algrea. Latest news. Make sure it's bold. Make sure it's white. Click on the rectangle, left align it. For some reason this is underlined. So if you ever get that, again, tools, text tools, just unclick it. And then let's do Control T and try make it something like 1, 2, 3, 4 away. Might be wrong. We can check just for sanity's sakes, but it should be, yeah, it's about 40 pixels away. Beautiful. That's done. The next bit is basically the news section and the searching and filtering the news, essentially. So this is where it might differ slightly because of how this grid is shaped out compared to this, but let's try it anyway. So here we've got basically 3 square sections. It'd be, let's say 1, 2, 3, I reckon. So let's do this by eye first. So let's get a rectangle tool and square, just to see how much we can get in. 269, right? Shift, Alt, drag, Shift, Alt, drag. How much does that leave us? Only that amount of space, not really. So what we can do is, rather than using the guides, kind of break them a little bit, because I kind of want to have this amount of space for the search. So what we're going to do is do Control T, downsize it to like 230, do 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just as a guide. That's kind of going to be our guide right now. It's not perfectly done as here, but it's good enough, and you can break it. The guides, they're not there to be rules. It's kind of, if this is what you want, this is what you want, and then developers end up having to build it or basing guides around this. So what I'm going to do is do our first image. So let's drag this, shift, and then do this. Let's make it a color we can see. What we want to do is drag it to the length of whatever this is. So let's say, is that kind of right? Almost 485, right? Let's drag that down. And next we need an image, like we did before. So see that image? File, place embedded, client files, it's this image. Control T, always hold shift when you're resizing so the image doesn't get distorted. Overlay it, mount out, Alt, in the layers panel, bam, done. If we want to get the exact same shadows as we got in the video player, click on the video player, click on the shape icon, layer, copy layer style, hide all of that, click on this, shape, paste layer style, beautiful. We've got stuff going on straight away. Now let's actually get the same gradient we have there as well. It's that simple. So what we can do is actually duplicate this layer and drag it all the way out of everything. Damn it, don't do what I just did there. Let's hide that header and then grab this right here, drag it using Control T, and that's our layer, right? So what we want to do is put it just above mount up and just place it. Easy, simple, done. And then all we have is a bit of type, which is actually the same size as latest news. So what we can do is Shift Alt, drag it. Can't see it, so just place it above layer wise. Make sure it's inside, and let's do Control T. Let's make sure it's 20 both ways. So 1, 2, 1, 2. And what does the story say? New arena released shock value or shock field or something. New arena released shock value. Simples. And with all of that done, pretty sure that's pretty much it. Let's select all those layers, Control G, and let's say post news post 1. What we can do straight away is, again, holding Control T, just drag it up and align it. And what we can do is the first 2 squares right here, drag them below, and then they can be our guides 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the ones below. And I'm just going to change the colors of these guys so I can actually see them. Right there. And then we've got a square one, which is what we'll do next. Make sure you Control Save as often as possible. But right now it's going to be it for today, although apparently something very much broke here. So what we're going to do once again is, if anything like this happens, select the layer you know that's broken, Alt, 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 done. Stuff like this does happen when you duplicate stuff constantly, but this should be enough to start you guys off. And in about 30 minutes, 40 minutes, we've already got a header, half a new section going.